in patch 10.6. You have to take advantage of these before they become meta. Races are easier with a head start, and we're here to give you that head start. We've done all the hard work for you, so make sure to stay tuned for all of these cool new builds. And for our questions of the day, what's the weirdest build you've ever seen? Honestly, I actually played Malzahar bot a couple times, and it seems pretty troll and pretty bad, but we win a lot of dragons. I can push that wave real fast. That's probably the trollest build I've seen and done myself. Let me know what the trollest build you've seen is down below. And as always, if you guys want to get better at League of Legends, you know where to go. Go to proguides.com and find your challenger coach right now. There's no better time to grind the league ladder. All right, guys, let's get into the video. Starting off with the top lane, let's talk about Aurelia. We mentioned a different build a few patches ago, but ever since those buffs to Blade of the Ruined King hit the live server, yet another one has surfaced. This new build, believe it or not, forgoes building a Trinity Force, one of Aurelia's staple items, since the beginning of time. It's almost like a couple breaking up. Insert Nathan joke here. Instead, this build relies on attack speed and sustain to dish out insane amounts of damage over time. I've tried this build already and it feels really good, especially if you're playing against an AP champion. For the items, you're going to want to go Blade of the Ruined King, Wit's End, Black Cleaver, Ninja Tabby, Sterix Gauge, and a Guardian Angel. You're going to want to rush Blade of the Ruined King against tanks and physical damage champions, or a Wit's End against AP champions. The reason players opt for Black Cleaver instead of Trinity Force is that it's cheaper and provides some armor shred. With the other items, you'll already have a ton of attack speed, so what you're giving up by avoiding a Triforce is the bonus damage when casting spells. Since this is an auto-attacking build, you don't necessarily need those Shen procs, even though it is pretty good on her. For runes, you're going to be taking Conqueror, Overheal, Alacrity, Last Stand, Biscuit Delivery, and Time Warp Tonic. You can make adjustments as you see fit, of course, but with the combination of Blade of the Ruined King and Wit's End, you'll be able to top off with Overheal quite often. The shield can be pretty nice to have as it's more reliable than Triumph, which relies on takedowns. Of course, you're free to take whichever you prefer. Alright, next up, let's talk about some Nasus builds we've been seeing as well. Spellbook and Conqueror have both arisen from the depths. First, let's talk about Conqueror Nasus, since this seems normal for the most part. The player we were looking at that used this build would use Summoner Ghost as well as Exhaust, in conjunction with Conqueror. First, let's talk about Exhaust. It serves two purposes. It provides raw combat strength, and it also slows his opponents. Since you won't have Flash, it's important to retain a movement speed advantage over your opponents. Ghost, Wither, and Exhaust make sure that you'll always be able to stay in range of your opponents. At level 6 especially, Nasus's all-in game spikes up significantly. On the other hand, Spellbook allows you to run defensive summoner spells like Heal, while also having access to teleport later in the game. Essentially, you can mix and match items as these players don't stick to one build every game. They're constantly itemizing based on their opponent's team comps. For runes, run Spellbook, Magical Footwear, Biscuit Delivery, Cosmic Insight, Nimbus Cloak, and Transcendence or Celerity. Nimbus Cloak is huge here as it provides even more mobility when you cast something like Ghost or Heal. The Conqueror build is Conqueror, Presence of Mind, Bloodline, Last Stand, Magical Footwear, and Cosmic Insight. For items, you're going to be taking a Trinity Force, Boots of Swiftness, Deadman's Plate, Spirit Visage or Visage, Thornmail, and a Sterix Gauge. Otherwise, build an Iceborne Gauntlet, Spirit Visage, Ninja Tabby, Thornmail, Randuin's Omen, and a Lord Dominic's Regard. In most cases, you'll want to start with Doran's Ring to secure farm early on. As long as you can finish with a couple of components early on, farming gets so much easier as the game progresses. Oh boy, here we go again. I know we've mentioned this one previously, but we wanted to shout out Kalista top lane once again. This build is slept on and really allows you to bully players in the top lane. We have an in-depth video covering the specific build, so make sure to check that one out. We'll run you through the build, but you have to watch the video. This isn't an easy pick to pull off. For runes, take Hail of Blades, Sudden Impact, Ghost Poro, Ravenous Hunter, Overheal, and Alacrity. For items, you're going to be taking Berserker's Greaves, Sanguine Blade, Blade of the Ruined King, Rapid Fire Cannon, Mercurial Scimitar, and Lord Dominic's Regard. Next, let's talk about Lulu. Hail of Blades has been something players have been messing around with on her. When activating it, you'll be able to really abuse Lulu's passive, get off some quick auto attacks, and chunk out your opponents. Actually, this build is often seen in the top lane, but there have been some variants of it as support as well. The items are really up for grabs when she plays as support though. Lulu can get an absurd amount of poke damage off with her auto attacks, and playing her with Hail of Blades allows you to push a lot of your opponents out of lane or kill them. For runes, you're going to be taking Hail of Blades, Taste of Blood, Zombie Ward, Ravenous Hunter, Bone Plating, and Revitalize. For items, you're going to be building Athene's Unholy Grail, Ionian Boots, Ardent Censer, Lichbane, Mikhail's Crucible, and a Rabadon's Death Cap. Take a look one last time before we head into the jungle. Graves was already pretty popular, but Phase Rush is becoming really popular on him. It's pretty easy for Graves to activate it. It just takes one auto attack, his smokescreen, and a Q. And then suddenly, he's the fast. The more bullets you're able to hit a single target with, the more damage you'll deal as Graves. Being able to maneuver around so that you're always able to pelt your opponents with every bullet is essentially increasing your damage output by a ton. You're really not giving up much damage when you take this, and you're also gaining a versatile tool when you pick Phase Rush. Use it to chase, run away, or style on your opponents. We got a ton of Graves style videos on our Instagram. If you guys want to check it out, it's at proguides League. Check it out for some daily highlight videos. You're gonna love them. Overall, this build feels really good and gives Graves a lot more to work with. Champions that want to chase him down have an even harder time now, since Graves can use his Phase Rush to kite them or just dip. For runes, you're going to be taking Phase Rush, Nimbus Cloak, Celerity, Water Walking, Triumph, and Alacrity. For his items, build a Warrior, Ghostblade, Duskblade, Ninja Tabby, Edge of Night, and Mortal Reminder. You can also sub in a Black Cleaver if you'd like some more survivability. Next up on the jungle list is going to be Predator Set. Set already deals a ton of damage, but what he lacks as a jungler is the ability to reach his targets. Although his ultimate is a great tool for flanking and putting enemies in a better spot to beat them down, Set's limited range on his 2 crowd control abilities can make it a real struggle to gank. Running Predator allows Set to have a lot more pressure on his ganks, since he'll able to run right up to his opponents, then break their faces in. It's also extremely easy to react to a Set gank as well. If you have vision of him, you can start walking towards your turret and get away nearly every time. Predator gives Set's opponents a lot less to work with before they get a real beating. Insert Nathan joke here. For runes, take Predator, Cheap Shot, Zombie Ward, Ingenious Hunter, Perfect Timing, and Cosmic Insight. Perfect Timing is pretty important, and Ingenious Hunter is mandatory if you're running Predator. The reason why you'll want Perfect Timing is because Set is a pretty insane diver. You're probably going to look for one right before turret plating falls, so having a stopwatch handy will make sure nothing goes awry. For items, you're going to be building a Cinderhulk, Trinity Force, Ninja Tabby, Styrax Gauge, Guardian Angel, and a Spirit Visage. Which smite you build is up to you, but our analysts suggest building a Stalker's Blade since mobility is the biggest issue for Set. No new runes, no new items, but maybe some new summoner spells is what Karthus needed all this time. An experimental build in question right now is Flashless Karthus. Instead, you're going to be running Exhaust, which is quite reminiscent of his old mid lane days. Running Exhaust makes it harder for his opponents to kill him, and will also make it easier for Karthus to land his Qs. Running Exhaust also makes Karthus' skirmish game much stronger, as he and his teammates can focus down whoever Karthus exhausts. Oftentimes, it doesn't really matter if Karthus dies during team fights anyways, and Flash is usually used defensively. Sometimes the best offense is the best defense, right? So if you run Exhaust and kill your opponents, you won't need to run away from them. If they flash away from you after you exhaust them, you can take those trades because you win the cooldown war. Runes and items are nothing new. For runes, you're going to be taking Dark Harvest, Cheap Shot, Eyeball Collection, Ravenous Hunter, Presence of Mind, and Coup de Grace. Or for you French folks out there, Coup de Grace, or whatever you guys say in chat, I don't even know. For items, build a Runic Echoes, Sorcerer's Shoes, Rabadon's Death Cap, Zanya's Hourglass, Void Staff, and Morellonomicon. Here's a quick recap of all our jungle builds this video as well. Let's head down into the mid lane next. Remember that Kalista build we mentioned before? Well, it also works in the mid lane. Kalista is a great pick into melee champions as well as ranged ones. She can farm from a safe distance or play aggressively and try and kill her opponents. Either way, Kalista brings out the true potential of her junglers, as she can literally throw them against her lane opponent. On top of this, Kalista's ultimate makes diving the mid lane much easier than it would be otherwise. This opens up a lot of mid lane pressure that wouldn't exist. We already mentioned the runes and items earlier, so we're just going to hop into our next pick. Like we said in the intro, it's another episode of what items Kai'Sa is building. Kai'Sa has made a surge in the mid lane. She's a ranged champion, so that means settling into the mid lane isn't that difficult. At worst, she can farm the waves or push them constantly and try and scale up. The mid lane twist is that she builds a ton of AP. You'll still build a Manamune though, so that you can upgrade your Q later into the game. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys those runes and items first because we need to talk about them. The runes are Dark Harvest, Taste of Blood, Ghost Poro, Ravenous Hunter, Presence of Mind, and Bloodline. The items are Manamune, Sorcerer's Shoes, Luden's Echo, Zhonya's Hourglass, Rabadon's Death Cap, and Void Staff. Kai'Sa only needs 72 more AD at level 18 to upgrade her Q, however hitting that upgrade earlier would of course require more than that. That's where the synergy of Manamune, Presence of Mind, and Luden's Echo comes into play. Presence of Mind and Luden's Echo both give Kai'Sa some more mana to work with, meaning that she'll also gain even more bonus AD for Manamune. She's able to upgrade her Q a few levels earlier as a result of this combination, so it's actually really smart. You'll also be able to account for other accessory items like Doran's Blade or Cull if you built them for an even earlier upgrade on that Q. This AP build focuses on bursting down foes and is especially powerful because of the changes to her W last patch. 70% of the cooldown is refunded if it hits a champion, so Kai'Sa is able to poke her opponents out significantly by spamming her Ws if they land. Alright guys, that's the wrap for the mid lane, so let's take a look at those builds one last time as we head down to bot lane. Marksmen belong in the bot lane, right? Well, I guess that even Kindred got that memo. She's seeing more play in the bot lane, and those buffs this patch definitely make it a little bit more plausible. Kindred's mobility and slow definitely give her some decent kill pressure in the bot lane. Also, she's able to activate press the attack quite easily. So paired with an aggressive support, you can definitely run a kill lane with Kindred. Overall, it's just like playing any other marksman, except that you can ult to save yourself and your allies. For runes, run Press the Attack, Presence of Mind, Legend Bloodline, Last Stand, Nimbus Cloak, and Gathering Storm. You'll definitely want to take Legend Bloodline because of the insane value it provides. You'll build a decent amount of attack speed anyway, and the one thing this build needs more of is definitely lifesteal. For items, you're going to be taking Infinity Edge, Berserker's Greaves, Storm Razor, Static Shiv, Mercurial Scimitar, and Guardian Angel. Storm Razor synergizes well with Kindred's mobile playstyle. It'll make chasing and kiting that much easier for her. With a momentary slow, it'll provide on her energized attacks. Following the attack speed buffs to his W, it's time to add even more attack speed to Draven's arsenal with Lethal Tempo. Draven is a snowbally champion who relies heavily on all-ins, so taking Lethal Tempo on him isn't too much of a stretch. You want those extremely long fights, so why not take a keystone built around long extended trades? This is a substitute to other aggressive runes, but at the end of the day, more auto attacks mean more damage. Often fitting in another attack will yield just as much damage, if not more, than Conqueror or Press the Attack. For runes, you're going to be running Lethal Tempo, Overheal, Legend Bloodline, Cut Down, Magical Footwear, and Biscuit Delivery. For items, you're going to be taking Essence Reaver, Berserker's Greaves, Infinity Edge, Rapid Fire Cannon, Storm Razor, and a Mercurial Scimitar. Finally, we're bringing back Kai'Sa once again, this time with Hail of Blades. Hail of Blades allows Kai'Sa to quickly stack up her passive and then finish activating it with one of her abilities. This build also allows her to access all 3 of her upgrades, but it's not something new. Overall, the biggest change is in the Keystone. For runes, you're going to be running Hail of Blades, Taste of Blood, Eyeball Collection, Ravenous Hunter, Presence of Mind, and Legend Bloodline. For items, you're going to be taking Manamune, Berserker's Greaves, Ginsu's Rageblade, Nashor's Tooth, Banshee's Veil, and a Rabadon's Death Cap. As this is a more magic damage focused build, it makes plenty of sense to run Hail of Blades. It also synergizes well with Ginsu's Rageblade, which needs some basic attacks to ramp up. Getting 3 almost instantly will make stacking up the following ones much quicker than it would be otherwise. Alright guys, real quick, take a look at that screen one more time as we head down to support. For supports, we got a nifty one for you guys, and that's going to be Cho'Gath support. Cho'Gath is seeing some success in this role, and it actually makes sense. Cho'Gath has a decent amount of crowd control and brings utility to the table with his W as well. All great things you'd want to see in a support. The build is similar to solo lane Cho'Gath, buying a relic shield to start though. Although slower to scale up, Cho'Gath's support does the same things that Cho'Gath would otherwise want to do for his team. This is the Glacial Augment variant of Cho'Gath, so it'll be more focused on pick making and guaranteeing lockdowns on opponents. Also, having Cho'Gath on your team is a great pickup in this meta. There are a bunch of mobile champions like assassins, and having that silence readily available is a lifesaver, quite literally. For the runes, you'll want to run Glacial Augment, Magical Footwear, Biscuit Delivery, Approach Velocity, Cheap Shot, and Ingenious Hunter. Magical Footwear is quite important in this setup as you're playing Cho'Gath's support, meaning you have less gold. Any free gold you can pick up is a blessing, so make sure you count it. Ingenious Hunter is mandatory with this build, as you're going to have to build a bunch of different active items for their utility. For the items, you're going to be wanting a Bulwark of the Mountain, Hextech GLP, Twin Shadows, Ninja Tabby, Gargoyle Stoneplate, and a Righteous Glory. Usually though, you won't have enough gold to finish a 6th item. Instead, try to save that last slot for pink wards. And that's a wrap for all of our picks. Here's that build one last time for you guys as we finish the video. That's it for our Korean OP builds video for patch 10.6. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. And if you didn't like this video, then please leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Once again, if you guys want to get better at League of Legends, go to proguides.com. Get your challenger coach right now. That's it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck in your next few games, and I'll see you on the Rift.